today I'm going to be showing you 54 pieces that I made in 50 hours. So a little bit more about that. I'm an art major at school and finishing up in the next year, hopefully. So I'm taking some summer classes to try to get ahead, and so this was a 3-week, 10-day class in watercolor and drawing. So the class ran from like 1 to 6, but sometimes we took lunch breaks, cut it short. So it was about 5 hours a day for 10 days for the last 3 weeks, and so here's what came out of it. This is not really necessarily my best work because I was really just having artistic drain. I was so over it, and we didn't get any instructions. It was kind of free reign. So not all this is my best work. I think some really good work came out of it, and some stuff that I definitely am not proud of, stuff that I don't really consider as like my art. It was more just like made it because I was bored. But anyways, I'll talk more about that when I show you the pieces, so let's just get into it. So first up were these 9 pieces that we had to make as kind of the intro. So we had to do like a wet, a damp, and a dry wash of all the primary colors. So here I have red in different versions. This is like the wet one, so I let it balloon because he wanted us to experiment with making it imperfect. Some of them having a clean taped edge, and some of them just kind of being abstract pools of water. So we did red, yellow, and blue. So and then we went to the secondary color, so we did orange, and I didn't want to waste paper by doing entire pages, so I did half a page of dry on this side and then wet on this side, or damp. And so same thing here, and same thing here with purple. And we did those by mixing the primary colors, not using like orange, green, and purple straight out of the tube. And then I did this little rainbow piece just for fun, just to kind of play around with the colors that I had, see what how they blended. So this was again just made from the primary colors. And then I did this nice little ombre from red to yellow, and I like this piece. It reminds me of like a sunset. And then I did this piece, which this was like, a lot of experimentation. It started out with just another kind of a red to yellow ombre. I started layering more and more splotches and drips, and so you get this like nice dark red and this orange effect on top of the bottom wash. This is one of the ones that are actually my favorites, even though, I'm not a big abstract art person. I'm very much about doing art in order to tell a story, so, character design, background design, storyboards, that type of art. But I do like this piece a lot. I did it by kind of painting on a piece of glass and like smushing the paper on it multiple times. So I got different layers. I got nice dark green shades, blues and yellows, and so I really like this piece. This piece, I also quite like this piece. Again, I started out with just like a blue wash, like a blue, and then at the bottom I put a little bit of a red, and then didn't quite like it, so I was trying different shades of blue, and then some reds, some yellows, and I actually do like how this piece turned out with all the layers. This piece, which I actually dislike a lot, but my teacher and everyone else really liked it. So it was the red to blue wash, and then I added in some purple, and I kind of like let the water sit on it, and I swirled the paint around in the wet water, and then let it dry so that it would have all these like balloon effects and all these things. So that's this one. This one I did in a similar way. I just put water on some parts of the paper, and then I put paint in the water and let it swirl around and kind of just be free and not really get all over and have a lot of white space. So I like the colors, but I don't really like the shape of this one. This one I don't really like. This one I was practicing with really just pressing it, but when I was doing it, it wasn't coming out dark enough, so I kept on adding more and more layers, and then ended up with getting kind of ugly like orange splotch across it, so not my favorite. I think I should have just left it like the bottom layers, which as you can kind of see, there's like a purpley blue like pastel layer underneath, so I like that a lot better, but Then here's an ombre gradient type thing. I really don't like this piece. These next 3 are on this other type of paper that I got because, long story, but I did not have enough paper because he didn't tell us our supplies till the first day of class, and I was at school and I didn't have my car or anything, so I couldn't get more watercolor paper, especially because a lot of mine was at home, so when I went to the art store I just picked up these individual sheets, which were not the best quality, but then obviously the next week I went home and I got proper watercolor paper because I had so much at home I just didn't bring it for some reason. This is my Rothko impression, kind of. It's just a lot of red and blue alternating over and over and over to get this nice purple, so yeah. And then here's just another rainbow like wash. I was practicing just seeing how colors faded out to white when you like kind of just let the paint go and get more diluted with water. Speaking of water, I have this water cup, and in conjunction I have this fire piece. And then this one, which is water and fire, or something like that. This one I wanted to practice more with, like dripping the paint, so I just put paint on the top and I let it flow down, so it kind of naturally washed out. And then the blue one, I just like the blue and the black together, so I was practicing with that. And then I kind of, so this is not entirely in order, but this was like during the this is during the second week. I ran out of things to paint, abstract and whatever. So I asked for suggestions, and Matthew suggested that I paint a beach and a forest. So I painted a forest. Not my favorite. It's an okay forest. And then waterfall, definitely one of my least favorite. I really don't like how it turned out. I'm used to acrylic when I can go over with white, and there's no white, so I just kept painting more blue on the waterfalls. And then my beach, which I also do not like, because again, I really would have loved white paint to add to the water to get it nice and foamy. So this is my little beach. I have this just sunset, kind of abstracted. I have this kind of abstract landscape, just because I like the colors. This is an oil spill, which I do like this one. So this is just found a picture of an oil spill, and I kind of imitated that. And likewise, here's another one that I also like. It's a darker one. This was a sunset, but because I used drawing paper, not watercolor paper, the colors do not really work well. They kind of just get muddy and they kind of soak into the paper. They don't like sit on top of it nicely like on watercolor paper. So this is one that may be revisited just because I like the colors, but execution was not great. Here is some crystals, and so what happened here was I used masking fluid, but I got really impatient with letting it dry, so when I was rubbing it, the paint got everywhere, and I was like, it's part of the artisticness of it, it's fine. But yeah, my little crystals. I have a skirt because I wanted to practice, doing clothing and draping. Here's another abstract piece, again on just drawing paper, but yeah, this one I was trying out the India ink. This one is another two pressed pieces. So this one I used a lot of water, and then I used the India ink obviously to get this nice darkness, and I really like these like little squiggles and how they kind of show up, and they like bleed. And then the other side is another pressed one, but I did not put that much water into the paint kind of dried out, so that's why you got this like speckled effect. Here's another abstract piece. Again, the colors are not the best because this is on drawing paper. But yeah, I just like these colors. I saw a piece like this online, and I just wanted to, copy the colors. Here's a little landscape. I think this is also on drawing paper. No, maybe not. This is on watercolor paper. But yeah, my little landscape, my little 15-minute landscape. And then here I wanted to practice with skin tones, and I wanted to practice with shading a hand. So I did black and white first, and then I did a face, and then I also did color for the hand. And the color face is not the best, but I do like how the hand turned out. So that's this piece. Here I wanted to just practice using only one color, so I used this nice purple color, and I kind of didn't know what I was painting, so I just painted a random landscape, which is not what I'm used to. I like painting from photos and from references, so that's why it's kind of just a random composition of purple. Yeah. This is one of my favorite pieces. I wanted to paint a diamond, so I painted the diamond first, and then I thought of what other circles and effects can I have, so I did a pearl, which I didn't think was going to turn out good, but actually I think it looks great now, and then the CD, which I also really like, and then the bubble, which doesn't look like a bubble at all, but it does look nice, I guess. So that's this piece, my circles piece. This one I do not like at all. I just wanted to practice getting really, really deep saturated colors, but I didn't want to do like another rainbow, so then I tried to do an abstract piece, but the colors were not really swirling and being abstract as much as I wanted them to because I didn't want them to get muddy also. And then, so I didn't like it that much, and then I just started dripping water down it, and then I took a paper towel, so then you get these like kind of textured effects, and so it looks kind of like zebra stripes or like looks like some type of tie-dye, so it's not my style at all, but this is like my teacher's favorite piece of mine, but yeah, not my fave. Then we have this piece, which the top is just rainbow swirls, so I just again put water and I kind of just let the color swirl around, and so when it was wet it looked really nice because all the colors would swirl and like look like it's like really deep galactic things, but obviously when it dries it kind of flattens out and gets all muddy, but there's still some nice moments with like the blue. So this was going to be a test for a more complex landscape, and I wanted to practice doing, tiny details, but I just got too impatient, and so this ended up being a more abstract landscape. And I do like how it turned out with the building. The one thing I would fix is that I would probably go in here and do the leaves a little better instead of just letting it flood out and get all of the, whatever they're called, the bleed marks around. But I do like the colors, this one. Moving on to the bigger pieces. So again, this is not really an order of how I did things, because I went back from small pieces to bigger pieces. But the general trend is that I started out small, and then by the third week I was working on these big pieces, which the biggest pieces, that's true, but these medium-sized ones were kind of just thrown in the mix. So this was my first oil spill piece, and I don't really like how the colors turned out in the lines. I think it looks more like marker than watercolor, and so I don't really like how it turned out. And I wanted to do peacock feather, but again, I don't know, it's not what I had in my mind. I wanted it to be a lot more metallic and oily and shiny, but it's just colorful. This one, I just ran out of things to do, so I wanted to practice with my figure drawing, but I was having a problem with the reed pens, then I switched to pens, and just the India ink and the different pens you use were giving me such troubles, so then I switched to a brush and I did it over it, but then the brush, I wasn't getting good figures, so this is definitely not my best figure work. I know a lot of these do not look like figures at all, but I just ran out of ideas at this point. This is the last day, and I just ran out of ideas, so that was this one. Rice paper is a challenge. So here's just a mountain piece, and so with rice paper, the water and whatever just gets soaked in, so it's very hard to spread it around. So this is just a little India ink mountain, and then this, again, I ran out of ideas. This is my rage painting. I was like, let me just put on some death metal and just paint with my emotions like people say artists do. So I just whipped out the red paint and the black paint and just kind of went with the music or something. I don't know. My attempt to be a true artist. I don't know. This piece is my favorite rice paper piece. It's like a mountain landscape, and I really like the colors and how it turned out. And it looks like a mountain landscape, but it's a little bit abstract too. Actually, goes this way. But the rice paper, you kind of can't tell. Whew, the pile's getting big. All right, last few. This is a portrait that I did because I wanted to do a full portrait in color. I didn't really get that much practice with the face because her eyes are cast downward, but I did like this picture. I liked, she looks very goddessy, and I liked practicing the draping, especially in the white. It's a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, that's this piece. I do wish that the background was darker. You can see here, this is the color I would have liked it to be, but when I painted this, because I painted it at home, when I went home for the weekend, I didn't have my big flat brush, so I was kind of just struggling with the background. Alright, my last 3 pieces are my big pieces. So these are not in order, but I was tired of painting buildings and faces and abstract pieces, so I was like, what else is there? Nature. So I painted just some flowers. And I do like this piece, but I wish it was a little bit more saturated. It's a little bit light, because there's white flowers, yellow flowers, pink flowers, and a green, but it's kind of just lightly done. So yeah, and then I think some paint got on these pieces a little bit. Okay, this is my last piece, but not my favorite, so I'm going to show it second to last. This is just practicing with different colored faces, obviously different skin tones, different face shapes. I did boys' faces for once, which I never do male faces. I always do girls, so I was practicing with that a little bit. But, you know, so like I started out here, and with these ones I took, you know, a lot of time, and then as I went this way and then came back around, I like spent less and less time because I just got so bored with it. This was the last day of class, I was just over it, so those were kind of rushed. And then my favorite piece, but not the last piece I worked on, was this landscape. So this is, you know, full color, detailed landscape. This took me like 2 days because obviously I had to tape it out and draw it and then do the background washes and then do the buildings and then do each, you know, individual window. And yeah, so this is my big piece. That was everything that I made in 3 weeks in my watercolor class. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this where, you know, I make a certain amount of art in a certain amount of time, experience, or like with different mediums, with like acrylic, drawing, or whatever. Just let me know what you want to see. If you want to see tutorials of how I painted some of these things, yeah, just let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!